What's going on, everybody? This is Justin from Off the Real Podcast, and I'm extremely stoked today because I have a guy with me and with us that I've been reading for a long time, probably I want to say close to 5 to 7 years. The first time I read your article was the Rakim article in 2014.
Uh-huh.
And that was the first time I kind of got familiar and just been following you ever since. But we have you on now to talk about this really cool book that you have out. It's about 6ix9ine, and I guess it chronicles his rise and fall. And I kind of want to leave it up to you there to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. Thanks, Justin. So my name is Shawn Satero. I'm a writer and reporter at Complex. And I just actually published a book called Dummy Boy, Tekashi 6ix9ine, and the Nine Trey Gangster Bloods. I don't know if your podcast has a visual component or not, but
Yes, sir.
Showing the cover here. Yes, I am rereading my own book to prepare for interviews like this, so hence the bookmark. Complex partnered in putting it out with Kingston Imperial Publishing Company. So yeah, I'm thrilled with it. Like you said, it is about 6ix9ine's rise and fall. I had been researching him and covering him since 2018, since probably the middle of 2018 was when I started looking into him. And, a few months after that November, he got arrested, and I was just at every court hearing since then. And while all that was going on, I put together a podcast that you guys can find on Spotify called Infamous, the Tekashi 6ix9ine story. Angie Martinez narrates that. And so we did a ton of interviews for that. A lot of those interviews then, went into the book. And this is but not everything could fit into the articles I was writing for Complex. Not everything could fit into the podcast. So this book is just a culmination of everything I know, all the wild stories, all the stuff that couldn't fit, I would say the definitive take on this story. And I mean, I say that because, I was a talking head in one of the documentaries about him. I was talking to the people who made the other. I know sort of what's been said and what's not. Both those movies are great, but this is just a whole different thing.
Okay. So just speaking on the kind of Danny to 6ix9ine, did you feel differently about him after you finished this book than you did before?
That's a great question. I would say in the process of interviewing people who knew him, I gained a real kind of 360 view of this person, because all I knew beforehand was, we'd been in the same room, once before that, hadn't even really spoken. So it's not like I had, much personal stuff to work on. I only knew what everyone else knew, the trolling, the videos, all the crazy stuff. But the more you talk to people who know him, the more you get that there's this other side of him too, right? This side that is quiet and respectful. Those are the words that came up over and over again when talking to people who knew him, right? So, I came to realize there was that other side to him as well. Not just the loud trolly, I'm going to poke at you till you pay attention to me side, but a whole different side of his personality as well.
And that's what I kind of took away from the book. I got to read it. It was excellent. It was I've seen the other two documentaries, and I was wondering, would there be an overload of the same information? And you did such a good job of taking different angles. You spoke about his mom. I had never heard his mom's name before, and knew those kind of things. You actually put a different spin on the stepfather murder story. So just so many good things I can say about the book. I think if you've seen both of these documentaries, the book can still give you so much and kind of fill in a lot of the holes that is left.
For sure. And one thing I'll say is that's different about the book is the entire second half of the book is really in some ways like a legal thriller. The second half of the book kind of starts after everyone's been rounded up. And there's a whole bunch of stuff that goes on in the courtroom that I only know because I was there. I'm not, I was just fortunate enough to have a job that enabled me to leave the office and go to court all the time. So I was able to see all this stuff play out firsthand, and I tried to get inside without too much jargon, try to kind of get inside what was going on. Like if one lawyer was insulting someone, or if there was some kind of like complicated legal move, but at the root of it was Shotty wanting to screw over 6ix9ine. I tried to incorporate all of that stuff. That's really hard to get into day-to-day reporting because it plays out over time.
Right.
So there is a lot of that stuff, and then obviously an account of the trial and of the sentencing, at which both were pretty dramatic, and we could definitely talk about that. So that's another thing that sticks out about it.
Yeah, no. How was being in that courtroom? What was the energy?
I mean, look, the first time that I saw Shotty and he's kind of scanning the courtroom and his eyes passed over me for a second, it was a little frightening. And likewise, I ran into Anthony Ellison, Harv, the guy who kidnapped 6ix9ine. And, there was one hearing at which we just both happened to be in the, using the bathroom at the same time. And he said, "Oh, Shawn, you're killing me out there with the articles. You got to give me a break." And he was like sort of kidding, sort of not, but also knew who I was and knew my name. And I was like, that's how it goes. I was there all the time. People knew who I was, from sort of, the deputy to the, assistants to the lawyers to, I at least some of the defendants. So, like I said, I think that enabled me to get a grasp on some of the more subtle things, and also obviously on a lot of the background information, which would come up in each person's individual case. You got sort of a whole history of them as it went on.
Going forward, do you think that, how do you feel 6ix9ine's career goes from this?
So one thing that I've been saying a lot is I would never rule this guy out. It doesn't appear right now like there's a ton of interest in his music career. He has been doing shows. They've been successful, although he actually is right now being sued for skipping out on one in Texas. But, the shows he's been doing, that he's been, appearing at and not canceling on, appear to be successful. But obviously his last album was a disappointment sales-wise. And so and his trolling tactics don't appear to be gaining the audience they did back in 2018, right? He's doing the same stuff, insulting dead people and, doing the unthinkable and all of this, but it doesn't seem to be catching the way it did, 2-3 years ago. But he's a very, very smart guy, and I would never rule out him finding another way to get the attention of the world. So, will that be in music? Will that be in YouTube videos? Will that be in, one of his producers suggested he should be a Twitch streamer, I don't know. We'll see. But I can't see him putting away the need for public attention. That seems sort of too deeply, in there to give up easily.
Okay. Now, I know that, kind of following him from the beginning, there was a couple guys who played the background. Love the cat.
Yeah, that's Joey.
That was awesome. Joey. So there was a couple guys in the background. I believe one name was Drew, and then there was a white guy as well.
Justin, they called him. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah. Are they still friends? How's that relationship?
So I believe Drew is credited on some of Tekashi's more recent songs. So it appears they're still close. I reached out to Drew while doing the podcast, and he didn't want to speak. I think at that point, publicly, he was trying to do his own music and get away from being the guy who wrote songs with Tekashi and did Tekashi's videos. But like I said, he has been credited on more recent songs, and I think on some of those songs you can even hear his voice, although I haven't, I don't know if he's credited with, background vocals or something, so I could be wrong about that, but it certainly sounds like him. at least on some stuff on the new album. So it appears like they're still working together. I don't know about Justin, the other guy who was part of their video making team. Yeah, I'm really not sure.
Yeah, I always thought that was an interesting perspective. You had these three guys who were so different than his new set of friends. And it always felt like they were in the background kind of laughing like, this guy's insane and this whole thing is insane. So I always thought that was an interesting perspective that they would have.
I mean, Drew was, I think, his closest friend during all of this, and but you're correct, not really involved, not at all involved in the gang stuff. He was obviously aware of it. There's I talk about in the book, kind of a funny early club appearance that Tekashi made where Drew was there and Shotty's there and a lot of the 9 guys are there. And he's just so excited that his friend is doing well and that Seiko Billy's song is getting a response in the club. And so he just kind of starts jumping around, throwing up 9 hand signs, even though he obviously had no affiliation with the gang. He was just kind of caught up in the moment.
That was definitely a funny part of the book. There's just so many good parts. And like you said, it does have a thriller aspect in some of it. When you talk about the kidnapping and different things, I'm just really excited about for people to read it. I could obviously talk about the book, but there's something a little personal I wanted to touch on. It's Christmas time, and you used to do your podcast, The Cipher, is I'll say it on air. It's my all-time favorite hip hop podcast, without a doubt.
Thank you so much.
I really felt like what you did. I strive to do. You kind of took it to a whole nother level with the interjections where you would explain things in the songs. It was pretty amazing. But around Christmas, you would do things with Bill Adler. His amazing guy in the hip hop scene comes from Def Jam and Run DMC. Have you talked to him lately? And I
have actually. So I am holding here actually with a handwritten note, this year's edition of the Christmas Jollies.
That's so exciting! Wow.
So yeah, Bill. I speak to him. He looked at the book. It was not long pre-pandemic, I think, that we had lunch, and he had looked at the book and was excited. An early version of the book, and was excited about it. I think it may have been like right when it was finally finished. I gave him like an advance reader of it or whatever. Yeah, he is great. I consider him a friend and a mentor figure, and it's kind of wild. Of all the people I've met in the hip hop world, Bill is in some ways the most mind blowing to me, simply because I remember growing up in suburban New Jersey, right, and in the mid '80s being exposed to Run DMC and maybe 86, 87, the Beasties and, all of this stuff. And it wasn't solely Bill, but Bill was the PR guy and he had a lot to do with that, right? And it's just kind of like, it's wild to actually meet a person who was responsible for this music getting out to the wider world, including my small corner of it in the Jersey suburbs. He's had a fantastic career both at Def Jam and then afterwards as an archivist and a writer, and a lot of his papers are now at Cornell University. Yeah. It's just he's been fantastic.
Well, the question always changes for me about who would I have at my dinner party, but I was asked about 2 months ago, and Spike Lee, I invited him. I wanted Richard Linklater to be there, big film guy. But I said Shawn Satero and Bill Adler, and the guy was like, "Really? Who are they and why?" And I told him, and I said, 'Cause I just want to hear the Christmas Jollies before anybody else. Like, I want to hear those two guys talk about it, and I don't want to speak to them. I just want to hear them because y'all's conversations are so I'm a kid of hip hop like yourself. It was just the basis of my childhood, and to hear you guys talk about it on a level and with the way that you guys do is truly special. And I tell anybody, if you like hip hop, if you like the history, listen to The Cipher. It's a podcast that was done at the highest level. And I wanted to personally just tell you that you had a big influence on the way that, I plan to do things as well.
Thank you so much. Yeah, one of the things that's been great about the past couple of years since, by the way, Josh Cross, the producer of the Cypher, was really, the other half of it and responsible for a lot of the interludes and stuff that you were talking about. One of my great joys in the past couple of years since we stopped the Cypher after 250 episodes is seeing a whole new generation of hip hop podcasts like yours, and the people running them are saying, look, I listened to the Cypher, I was a fan of it, and they're very different shows. They're obviously not copying what we did, but just knowing that we provided, inspiration and maybe a little bit of influence is fantastic. Like, that really, it kind of warms my heart to see that happen.
I still listened. The other day I went back and listened to he was a photographer. I'm gonna mess it up. It was a photographer. He got his camera. He told a very inspirational story about him just got a camera and started shooting. But whatever it was, I always go back and I can click on a random episode and get a great source of inspiration and knowledge. And that's just
thank you. That's what we tried to do. Like, I think some of our episodes, right, are people like Joe Conzo, who was probably the photographer you're talking about, or just all kinds of people who you wouldn't necessarily their names, right? But you like you said, if you click on it, there's just a wealth of history, and I think we really, to an extent, really prided ourselves on that. That, like, yes, we had Ice-T, and that was great.
That was great.
And yes, we talked to Rakim, and that was amazing. And these sort of A-list people, but also, folks who maybe were behind the scenes or less known, and also got their stories and talking about their work. And those episodes are as worthwhile as the Ice-Ts of the world. So that was something that, we are proud of about the legacy of the show.
Man, it's really cool. I know you have a lot of stuff going on, and I just hope in the future we could maybe in a few months talk about how the book is done, and maybe like I said, it'd just be an honor to have you on anytime. I don't want to take too much of your time today, and I want to tell everybody to go get the book. It's a great Christmas gift, even for somebody who wasn't particularly into hip hop. I think that they would find like the thriller and just that aspect of it, just the rags to riches. It's an unbelievable story. So definitely, is there anything that you want to close with, Shawn?
Yeah, I mean, look, I would say, obviously buy the book. Complex presents Dummy Boy, Tekashi 6ix9ine, and the 9 Trey Gangsta Bloods. And you hit on something there, which is like, you don't need, even if you hate this guy, even if you think, why would I want to hear something about this guy? Or even if you're not really sure who he is, besides like, oh, isn't that the dude with the colorful hair? This is a story that really, I think it's the best hip hop story of the decade, honestly.
See, I told you guys that episode was going to be amazing. I hope you guys learned a little bit, enjoyed the Christmas Jollies part. If you guys hear this after the holidays, I hope you had an amazing time. Hope you spent time with family. Remember, do that more in 2022. Tell your people you love them, and just chill till the next episode.